now's the perfect time to start planting out your main crop potato tubers that have been chitting for a couple of weeks in the light shed. You'll see they're just starting to put the sprouts on, which are the little chits, so they're absolutely ready to go in the ground or into containers. I've decided this year to grow my potatoes in these big containers because I just find that they're a little bit easier to grow and they're a lot cleaner when they come out and easier to harvest than actually having to dig in a bed or in the allotment. So these big containers have got holes, like you can see here, actually in the side rather than the bottom. So they act as like a reservoir in the bottom, so they always have a constant supply of water for the plants, because potatoes are really hungry and really thirsty, so they appreciate that through the summer, especially if it's going to be a hot one. So what you want to do, if you're growing in pots or if you're growing in bags like this, you can use old compost bags if you want. I'm using a peat-free compost, so it's just a couple of scoops in the bottom, which is about 2 inches of compost or so. And because they're quite hungry, you put a scoop of well-rotted manure in as well, and just give it a mix round, and the manure will help feed the plants and make sure they perform as good as they should. So once you've done that, just level the compost off a bit, and then select your seed potato. If it's got more than one growing eye, like this one's got 3, you don't want to leave all of those on because they'll all form shoots and all start to grow. So you just want one main growing tip. So the smallest 2, either twist or rub them off. Decide which one you want to be your main shoot. So those get discarded, and then that's your seed potato ready to be planted. Now, because you're planting into containers and not into the ground, best thing to do is just place it where you want it to go. And a container this size will take 2 seed potatoes. So stick them in, and then all you want to do is cover them just slightly with more compost, probably about 1 inch on top of where the tuber is, and just level it off. Now that's ready to go wherever you want to keep it. So mine are going by the side of the greenhouse because it's nice and warm up there and they'll get the sun all day long. And then what happens next is, as the plants start to grow, they'll poke through the soil, and instead of having to earth them up and form mounds like you do in the ground, what you do when you're growing potatoes in buckets or bags is just keep adding more compost until it's nearly at the top of the container, and that's when they're ready to be left alone and just watered, and they'll grow happily all summer long. And with them being main crop potatoes, in the autumn they'll start to yellow, the foliage goes a little bit yellow, and then you chop that off, and the buckets are ready to be either lifted or tipped into wheelbarrows, which is a lot easier than trying to dig all your potatoes up. Leave them to dry for a few hours, and then they're ready to store to keep you in nice tasty potatoes all winter long.